Yolanda's. Today is a day that you're going to really want to watch if you want to decorate your home and you want to have a designer come in and do a real good job. Well, we have with us today Dawn Carroll, who is one of my closest friends, who is one of the fabulous designers for Kumar Marble. She had a vision to these beautiful rooms at Neiman Marcus, and it's been on exhibit right through Home for the Holidays at Neiman's in Boston. Welcome, Dawn. Tell us about all this vision you had.
Well, we had a remarkable opportunity to kind of talk about how couture fashions influenced home fashion. And thanks to people like you, you kind of gave us the okay card to go and glam up our homes. And then thanks to designers like Paula, Eric, and Gerald, who can't be with us today, but we explored the 3 Christmas themes of Neiman Marcus, which were Versailles, Balmoral, and Winter Palace. So the designers had to create spaces around the Christmas themes, and boy, did they knock it out of the park.
Well, we're very excited because the 2 designers that I saw the rooms, and I was there that night. It really is special. Eric, tell us about your vision that day when she got in touch with you and told you you were going to do this.
Well, the first thing when she told me about the timeline,
that's always the problem.
I thought, is this really going to happen? But knowing Dawn, I knew that she would bring it to fruition. It was really exciting. My theme was the Winter Palace, and I did a lot of research I wanted to get a vision for it, but I wanted then to make it my own. And the Winter Palace in Russia is all about bright color, gilding, over the top, just crazy ornateness. And that's what I think hopefully I brought to the room. I brought in artwork that I chose, just tried to create a real fun environment.
Mm-hmm. And what is your philosophy when you think about design before doing this room with that title and that concept?
Typically, when I start any kind of project, I like to stand in the space for a while and just sort of look at the architecture, let the space kind of speak to me. Mm-hmm. This project was a little more unusual because the space didn't physically exist at that time. Mm-hmm. Both Paula and I had to construct our rooms from the ground up.
So there were 3 designers all working now.
Correct.
With a mentee.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And Dawn, because that's really what you do with Over My Shoulder, working with mentees and mentors.
So we try to produce events that get people really excited and committed to mentoring projects. So along with Tony Fusco with Boston Design Week, and Boston Design Week thankfully adopted mentoring as part of their whole focus, we said, okay, let's reel in 3 designers, get them to commit, and then we'll shake it all up and ask them to step out of the spotlight and allow their junior staff or their mentees to kind of take ownership of the room under their guidance. And it was really a special moment. It tugged at a lot of heartstrings, and as a young designer, I can't imagine anything more exciting to be able to say, I'm going to have a room at Neiman Marcus.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Now, Paula, your room was really pretty special too. Now, did you decide right then and there that when you get into this space thinking about this, that this was something that you really was a challenge for you?
I began by thinking about Versailles and then trying to think about what it might look like today and how we might take that, kind of that theme, again, that over-the-top gilding, drapery. How could we make that a little bit more humanistic for today, but still make it fun and opulent a la Neiman Marcus? I wanted to definitely have some nods to the past with some antiques, which we did, as well as some contemporary pieces, which we added in. And the entire room actually started from my sketch pad. And from that point, we had to create drawings to have the room built from the floor up. And the piece de resistance for us was actually the fireplace. And working with Kumar and Dawn was just an extraordinary adventure to make it happen. And
well, it was exciting because every designer came with ideas, and then we had to figure out how to make them. And there were items that we had not made before. In Eric's space, we did floor-to-ceiling columns and translucent. It was ice palace.
Were the columns also from Kumar?
Yeah,
they were.
So the columns were. So now Kumar actually is one of the sponsors, along with Neiman Marcus and Boston Fashion Week. And tell us about that. Kumar got them really into this whole glamorous marble and marvelous stonework.
Well, my boss is in my opinion, the fashion icon in the stone industry. And stone can sound really boring, but it's not. There are so many incredible gems coming out of the earth, but then it takes vision. So when I approached my boss with this whole idea, he, lit up. He's like, I'm going to be in Neiman Marcus too? And I'm like, yeah, but we're going all the way. We're going, it's going to be like a couture runway. You don't necessarily wear them every day, these outfits that you see on the runways, but you never forget them. You walk out the door and you're like, oh my God, what did I just see? So luckily every designer kind of said, okay, let's rock it out. And each person had something special.
So there was a fireplace in each room. All totally different stone, all totally different design. Now, I know, Eric, that you had some input also in Paula on the design of the fireplace, and then they had to work up with the stone, right?
We did, and I took full advantage of Kumar's amazing offer to help with anything. In addition to the fireplace, the columns that we were talking about, which are done in this spectacular white onyx and then lit from within with LEDs, they're just a showstopper. I mean, it's just beautiful, and that was much thanks to Dawn working on that.
But you had a time constraint. I mean, this was amazing to think that you're in this major department store that usually sells apparel, and now you're working with this gorgeous furnishing, combining all of this. And how much time did you have?
It was pretty much came down to about 4 to 6 weeks, something.
6 weweeks from sketch,
conception
right,
to completion. So everybody stepped up their game.
They all have lots of gray hairs in those weeks.
Oh yes.
And then you eat right down to the paintings on the walls and whatever.
The paintings on the wall. I even did something over my fireplace. I saw a piece of stone at Kumar that was so beautiful it looked like a painting that I just had it cut and I had it framed in a gilded frame. And that became the artwork over the fireplace. And the same, we each did windows for Neiman Marcus. And I used an amazing slab of malachite, and the same thing, put it in an enormous gilded frame. And it really is artwork in itself. So it was great to showcase that for them.
Now, Paula, when you were working in the room too, you had to not only think about the fireplace, the warmth of the room, the lighting, and all of this, the conception of this whole room. You had to go out and get certain pieces, right?
And that absolutely was the most difficult task. As a designer, you can conceptualize exactly the piece that would be perfect with the exact fabric, but then it's typically a 12 to 16 week lead time for items. So now we're calling vendors saying, I'm ordering this sofa, I'm going to have the fabric overnighted to you, you're going to have to air freight the sofa to us so that we can have it. This is a vendor that we've worked with in the past, and it's typically at minimum 14 weeks. They turned it around in 4 weeks' time, including shipping it air freight. So many things were calling in favor, saying, please, please, please.
Now, were some of the items for sale? So people coming into the room said, gee, I love this, I'd like to purchase it?
Everything was for sale.
Everything?
Yes.
That's
everything was
wonderful.
for sale.
What a special way, though, because women do when they start decorating their homes. It's like choosing your wardrobe. You want all the right pieces. I mean, you had everything from just gift items that they could buy for someone or decorate their own home with this.
Correct.
That's fabulous.
And carpeting, and actually, somebody actually purchased the fireplace, which we're very excited
That was
about.
very
fantastic.
exciting.
Yes,
Yeah, that
yes.
was-
Now, this has been up for over 3 months because it was
Correct.
home for the holidays, and it's supposedly come down, but now due to the weather, it's going to be a little while before it comes down. So they still may have a chance to see it, or do they close it off?
I don't know exactly. The spaces, the 2 spaces that Eric and Paula did, we created, but there's an existing room there that might stay somehow decorated. It's still kind of up in the air, but there's a rumor that might stay going.
Well,
because that room
luckily we have
existed.
these great photographs, so everyone
Yeah.
that or anyone that has missed it then would be able to see it.
Absolutely.
So, Paula, tell us about your company now. You're located in Boston,
Correct.
and the name of your company?
It's Daher Interior Design, and there are 6 of us, and we love what we do. We're in the corner of Newbury Street in Clarendon. We primarily work on residential projects, but we also do some commercial projects. We are in Boston. We are throughout New England, down through Florida.
So you'll travel. If
we
someone has their
absolutely will
condominium in
travel.
Florida, then you do it there for
Absolutely, and we've done that for many.
You've been,
many
what,
clients.
15 years or longer?
20.
20 for you.
20 years.
And do you usually work with mentees, or you have interns working with you sometimes?
We typically have 1 intern with us throughout the year, but in this particular case, this Virginia Cerritos came to us, and she started her first day of work, as we were beginning the installation of the project. So she is a full-time staff member with us, a young woman, and she was coming from the commercial interior design world. So she really didn't know as much about the residential side.
Yeah, home furnishings, right.
So for her, it was just an amazing opportunity, and of course to be in Neiman Marcus, and she grew up in Manhattan, so she loves fashion, and it was just a win-win for her.
Yeah.
So Eric, what was it like working with a mentee? Have you done this before with a mentee?
I haven't specifically worked with a mentee. I had a mentor when I was younger. I do as well also have interns. It was a great experience, and at the end of the day, I feel like I learned so much from her.
Right.
Which is always, you give, but you get back even more than you give sometimes.
But holiday time is such a special time for people to want their home to look so spectacular. But you were able to combine the beauty of a home without overtaking it with just holiday fashions. I mean, the room was warm enough whether it was holiday or not, but it made it much warmer that way.
Definitely.
So would you like anything special in color? Normally your philosophy as far as design is what? Would you describe it?
That's hard to say. I have a few philosophies. I mean, first of all, I think that everybody deserves good design, regardless of budget. When we look at projects, it doesn't have to be an extremely large, high-budget project. It really depends on the client and the connection that you have with them and the project itself. As far as aesthetics, I mean, I grew up in a very modern home, so my heart and personal taste lies there. In New England, obviously, you deal with much more traditional architecture lots of times.
Definitely.
But I like to put my own twist on things. I'm a lover of color, strong
I can
color.
see.
And pattern.
Let's talk about
Not
that.
shy here at all.
That looks awesome.
Beautiful
I think
slacks.
I hope Phil can get a good picture of those. Beautiful. It's leather, embossed.
Embossed.
Right? Embossed leather. It's absolutely spectacular. And you look great in it.
Thank you.
Great. So Dawn, really because of your vision with over the shoulder foundation and everything you've done, this was really a love for you to do this.
Oh, it was a dream come true because you, as a designer myself, you want to be able to work among the best, and Boston has such amazing talent. And then when you had an iconic store and a brand like Neiman Marcus willing to give a young producer a chance at ripping apart their store and putting it back together, Daniel Kramer took a huge chance on that. And we had all the odds against us, like an impossible time frame. The middle of sleep, I ruined everybody's summer. I was joking with you earlier, my bathing suit's still hanging on a hook down the vineyard. I never got back down to the beach. But everyone came together, everybody had special stories. The product that's in each room is, your curtains are like a ball gown, your Venetian plaster walls are the sexiest things. They're just so incredible, and it was just amazing to see everything come together. Everybody have such a good time doing it. There's always behind the scenes.
Of course.
I wish I had film of that because that was.
Behind the
We
scenes
kicked
is
a lot of
always
walls,
like
we punched
like
a lot of
bloopers,
things.
right?
But in the end, it was just so glorious. And bravo to both of you and Gerald, who can't be here, and Tony Fusco, because it was an amazing project.
So Eric, tell us where you're located now, your studio.
My studio is in Savin Hill,
Okay.
and my company's been in business for 17 years. Eric Roseff Designs. It's a small team. There are 3 of us, and we work on projects again all throughout New England. But we've been working in Montana recently. We've been out on the West Coast, down in Florida. So we definitely travel.
You travel.
Yes.
Well, I think a lot of the women, when they're designing something, they get nervous when they buy something in Florida because they say, oh my gosh, now I need to get someone down here, but you'll go there.
Absolutely.
That's fantastic.
That's what's exciting as a designer, to be able to work in new environments.
Especially something taking it from the beginning. And if they catch you right away.
Yeah, I'd like to be working in Florida right now. Actually, today would be a great time to be there.
Out of that project, what was the element most in the project that you felt was probably the best thing there? We could probably say the columns because of Kumar.
Yeah, the stone was a great element. The Venetian plaster that Dawn pointed out on the walls that
absolutely
Pietro Viva
amazing.
did was just spectacular. The deep blue color, but the reflection, the sheen of it is just, it's really beautiful. And as far as elements and furnishings in the room, I think a lot of people gravitated toward the chandelier
Really?
Oh,
from
yeah,
Trianon
the
Antiques.
chandelier.
It was a French chandelier with rock crystal, amethyst rock crystal. And it was really a spectacular piece, just a major piece of jewelry in the middle of the room.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was spectacular.
You were telling me earlier that you were going, Paula, you were going to Paris, right?
Yes, I just returned from Paris, actually.
And you go there, and they have an exhibit. You can purchase things there.
It's a trade show,
Okay.
and it's Maison et Objet, and it's also Deco Off, so it's two different trade shows, and I go annually, and it's a great source of inspiration for me. You have vendors and from all over the world, but many from Europe that aren't necessarily represented here in the States. It's fascinating to see the colorways that are starting to come through. They seem to be ahead of where we are here in the States, and just their sensibilities, that they're definitely gravitating in a very modern way with tradition. And I think here in Boston, the projects that we work on here, for me, it's a great source of inspiration to go to Paris.
And what in your room, out of everything, if you said, well, I loved the room I did, and I'm so proud of it, but this was the one element that you felt was most spectacular in yours.
I did love everything, and I'm so pleased with all of the wonderful people that allowed us to utilize things, and I absolutely love that fireplace.
No, it was,
But the
it was
one
neat.
element I think that just, when it went into the room and just completed and really gave it this life, was the painting above. So there's a Luc Liestmacher. He's the painter, and it's this spectacular contemporary piece over an 18th century gilded console table. And I think that just really brought personality to the room, and the two pieces together, this very contemporary painting over this 18th century gilded console, just the juxtaposition of them together, I think gave the room the personality.
It's
did.
great. It's great. I mean, when I looked at some of the photos and that you sent, and I was there and I saw like that dark blue wall. I'm saying, I think
gorgeous.
anyone fixing their home would never even attempt that and say, oh, I don't think I can do that. But it seemed to work.
It definitely worked.
But you brought other elements in that brought it out.
Yeah, I mean, part of the fun of this project too is there wasn't a specific client.
That
So
you,
you sort
that
of-
you didn't have to please them. Please
well,
yourself.
you have to please yourself, but in your mind you always create an imaginary client. And I mean, I actually have those walls in my own home in that particular color, so it is near and dear to my heart. I mean, I love them.
Now you've done some of the things, the residence at the Ritz-Carlton.
Yes, I have.
And you've done it. There was another club that you just recently did, I guess, that I had read about that you had done, and you were pretty proud of that. The Yellowstone Club, Montana.
Yellowstone Club in Montana.
In
I've done a
Montana.
few homes there now.
And
It's
so you've gone out there to do these.
I have, and it's a great place. It's actually the only privately owned ski mountain in the world. So you have to be a member or own property there in order to ski there. So it's tucked away above Big Sky, and it's really a special place. And I have a couple clients who now have second and third homes there.
So you keep getting called back.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
And I've fallen in love with Montana. I mean, who knew? I've never been there
why
before,
not?
but it's spectacular.
So now, Paula, when you get a client, do they call you as soon as they build a home, or they just make a move and they get into the surrounding and say, I love this space, but it's not me, so I need someone to take it apart for me?
Well, there are several ways in which a client will call. Oftentimes they are thinking about building a home, and as they're thinking about that, they are assembling a team, the architect, the interior designer, the builder. For us, those are the most successful projects because we all have input from the get-go. And
Oh, it works better than waiting till it's all
absolutely
finished.
We do kitchen design and bath design. We do a lot of custom cabinetry and custom furnishings. So the earlier we get into a project, the better. We do a lot of condos and high-rises in the city, and those we, as Eric has done, you have to go in and you have to give them a personality and a life, and you have to add, moldings and soffits so that you can bring lighting to the space. So we really look at them with as a blank slate, and what can we do to make this the best, live the best way for this particular client.
But I think this was special for both of you because you had the opportunity to do something you'd love to do without some client saying, I don't really like that.
yes,
That's
you're
not
right,
me,
you're
right?
right, you're
I mean,
right.
this is sometime you could please yourself and then have this spectacular exhibit. I mean, it was just great. I mean,
It was
Kumar has been so instrumental in bringing stone and marble into this such a fashionable way. It's not just looking at a fireplace or just looking at a column.
It's a very flexible material, so we're lucky. You can pretty much, anything you can think of, you can almost attempt to do. And, so that between the old world craft and then modern technology, we just need
Well, I think that's
imaginations
it,
like
right.
this.
But you
Yeah.
brought so much style there. I mean, you had
Yes,
said
you did.
something about it was a magical family.
It really was, because I learned so much. Because often I'll just come in, you come in and you're hyper focused on just your part of the job. But when you're watching what the designers do to build a whole space, and you learn about Venetian plaster, and I mean, Venetian plaster's got stone in it, so now I'm passionate. I love that.
Something more you can get
Wow, we
into,
can
right?
create our own colors, and we don't have to wait 400 million years for Mother Nature to produce it. This is great. So you got to learn about the fabrics. The fabrics you used were amazing. And your birch trees, the backlit birch trees in Eric's room. I still don't know what those are, but I want them. They're like,
They're
you
yours,
can make a
exactly.
window in an interior space, and you can bring the outdoor Walden Pond into your city house. And
And they're backlit. So tell us about those. That sounds interesting.
Yeah, the space naturally had these 3 cutout spaces where there previously were display cases. So I decided to keep them and have them framed out, and I wanted to give the illusion of a window. So we had mullions made, and then I had photographs just enlarged on transparency film, and then we backlit them. And I picked these birch trees that were from a Russian forest. And it really gives the illusion when you walk in the room, it just gives depth to the space.
Of course.
it was
And
stunning.
it worked. It's something you have in your mind, and you're like, I don't know if this is going to work or not, but you see it through, and you turn the lights on, and you're like, it worked.
Well, it's so funny because a lot of people find apartments they love, except like there's not enough window space. So the illusion of a window to create this, make this room look bigger, actually, because windows do, gives you that beautiful light, that natural light. So spectacular. So now, what's your next project coming up?
Oh gosh, I'm lucky that
You're
I can.
involved in so many things, Dawn.
Yes.
From Over My Shoulder Foundation to being a member of so many organizations, and along with working so hard with Kuma Marble.
I love producing events, so I'm always on the hunt looking for the next, when you can collect a group of talent and you can build an event around it. So we have Boston Design Week creeping up on us, which is the 2nd year. It takes place in March, and so I'm cooking up my next event for Boston Design Week. And, for myself and my partner, the singer Patty Austin, we're always looking ways to connect music, mentoring, and design. Because when you start off with a space, an empty space, like Eric was saying, the space is asking you, what do you see I can become? And you mentor it to the greatness. You bring it, the personality into the room. If you ask Patty, everything's a composition. Whether you select a violin or a drum or a trumpet, and everything you do is that way. So we're really excited about Boston Design Week. That's our next adventure. And then in the summer, we're
great.
looking to put on a really fun music festival.
What was your biggest challenge, Eric? The time limit, or maybe getting the things in on time? Or, there were a lot of challenges, I'm sure.
There were a lot of challenges.
You're
getting
working in a
this-
store that's retail space, so it's
Yeah, Neiman Marcus made it really easy for us, though.
They did.
They were fantastic. And then Paul and I both worked with FBN Construction, and they, again, made everything so seamless and easy. I can't
Their
thank them
team
enough.
they were incredible. Whatever we dreamt up, they found a way to make it happen for us.
Yeah, with a smile on their face, no
Absolutely.
crankiness, nothing. So
Absolutely.
everybody was really into the spirit of the whole thing. Maybe it was because it was the holidays, everybody was, in
Yeah.
a good mood, but it was great. So I think, I'm definitely timeline always, and like Paula was saying, getting pieces of furniture upholstered and getting all that
those
done
are
in
the
a matter of
challenges that you
weeks.
faced, yeah.
Yes.
And a time limit was crucial because they had an opening that was picked and the day was chosen, so you
Correct.
couldn't really back out.
No.
Opening night, we were joking around. We were telling people, don't lean against the walls. The paint's still wet.
Oh, okay.
My furniture literally came in about 20 minutes before the
Yes,
opening.
it did. It
I was
did.
having a panic attack out on the sidewalk. still dressed in my sweaty T-shirt and jeans while everybody else is in their finery.
Well, you were just you were also featured on a TV show, right? Tell us about
On
that.
HGTV, I did an episode of House Hunters Renovation.
Now, do those have time limits, like when we see these different shows that they show ripping down a house and they send them off to Florida and they come back and the house is up?
Well, this was actually almost a 16-week renovation shoot from start to finish. So filming was just about 3.5 months. So we filmed maybe 2 days a week, anywhere from 4 to 10 hours a day. And there's a little bit of TV magic worked in there.
Oh, yeah, of course.
But
I know, because when I watch that, I say, how do they take this to Disney World and come back and the house is up?
Yeah, so it was a great experience. But sometimes I think, as the end user watching TV, I just want to explain to people that it's not always as quick as you see.
Right.
I mean, and we had Kumar came in on that project as well, and I mean, stepped up. They turned around the countertops there in just a matter of days, which was unbelievable.
What a joy to do. Especially at holiday time when you're home. You want your home always. I always love inviting company at holiday time because you're kind of at your best. It's like your showcase. And you were able to showcase your work, which was so wonderful, Paula.
It was really
It's
wonderful.
great. It's great. They were warm and cozy. You step into the room and it felt like your home. And it just, even what maybe was not my taste, certain rooms, but you felt that way. It brought you in. It just draws people to those rooms. Really beautiful. And some of the items that you sold were what? Most of the paintings, or did they pieces?
I mean, for us, it was mostly about exposure.
Right.
And it just so happened that working on this large brownstone in Boston, and we went to Kumar, and the mantle was under construction for Versailles. And so my clients actually saw the pieces apart and fell in love with that.
Wow.
So I said, you know what? You could have this. You could buy this. So for
you
them-
commission.
So it was really just one of these, the stars were just in alignment for that. So they live in Florida, and then the next time that they came back for Christmas, and they went in and they saw it completed, and it sort of cemented it. They said, we have to have this.
Right, exactly. Now, how do they get in touch with you? So I'm building a new home, or I'm going to move, and I know I need a designer.
The easiest way is to pick up the phone and call our office in Boston.
And you have a website, I'm sure.
And we also have a website. And do you want us to say?
Sure, you can
Okay.
say it, and I'll put it on the screen.
So it's Daher Interior Design, DAHER, interiordesign.com. And our phone number is 617-236-0355.
And Eric, yours?
Our website is ericroseffdesigns.com, and our phone number is 617-282-9725.
Awesome, awesome. And Dawn, they can get in touch with you, I'm sure, because they can get in touch with me. I'll make sure they get in touch with you.
Absolutely, yeah. We're easily found online and in Kumar Marble and Granite in Everett. Yeah.
Now, so Kumar really has been in the forefront of all the stone companies that I have known about, because you've brought the fashion into it, which I see, that excitement to creating.
My boss, Ivo Kubi, and I, the manager, always cringes when the two of us get together because we're both very imaginative and we're always looking for the next great thing to do. So when I have an idea, my boss both loves and loathes it because he knows it's going to be a whole lot of fun and really exciting. And it's going to be usually something that we haven't done before. So we've known each other for 20 years, and and it's always great. They're very supportive of my foundation, which is fantastic. Because mentoring happens there every day. There's no school for the stone industry at all. You have to find one of those Italian masters and beg him to teach you everything he knows.
Do you get to Italy at all with the stone?
I have not ever gone to Italy because I feel like I work in Italy every day. I'm one of the only Americans in my company. I've gone to the quarries and this
Yeah, because
September.
I was going to say, because we went to Italy, that's where we went to the quarries.
Yeah,
Because my husband's a builder, so that was something that he was really interested in. I was interested in the fashion stores, he was interested in the stonework, but that was great.
So I think this September I'll end up going.
If you get the time.
Yeah.
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
For those of you that have not had a chance to go to Neiman's, it may still be up for a short more time, but you'll have pictures to see now on our show to see the beautiful work that these designers have done. Eric and Paula, we thank you so much for taking time to come, and Dawn for putting this together and making sure people who may have missed it didn't miss it now, thanks to WCAC TV. Thanks for
you.
watching. Style and Glam with Yolanda's. We'll be back soon with more wonderful ideas for your home and for your fashion. Thank you so much for watching. See you soon.